Hey man, my name's Matt Stacy. I'm here with Monkey Goose Magazine with Simon Townshend.
Yeah, cool.
We're in Hollywood, California, Hotel Cafe. Simon.
Yeah, hi man.
Hey man. He's going to be playing a show tonight, and he's nice enough to give us a few minutes of his time beforehand, ask a few questions. So basically, Simon, writing process.
Writing process.
What would you describe your writing process as?
Well, it varies so much. I mean, the ideal one is where the song comes to you, you're inspired, and you write it in 5 minutes. That's the idea. Well, yeah, I mean, it happens. There's some incredible songs been written that way, and often, to be honest, it's the best way.
It's different every time. You're saying basically, or there's does the lyrics come first, or is the music, or what would you say?
It sometimes comes all at once with like a hook line and a melody, and a top line melody, and that's kind of the way it's the greatest way of being inspired for me, because then it just triggers so much stuff, very quickly.
Now, is that something you approach every album with, like with a certain theme, or is that just kind of write itself?
No, I mean, as I said, things just come to me. I get inspired. I mean, my last album wrote itself because I was going through a really hard period in my life. So, with my family, and there's a lot of personal stuff in there. Like, it's always the easiest thing to write about what you know, isn't it? Yeah. So. That's why that album wrote itself so quickly. I mean, right now I'm sort of struggling to get inspired, and I have been for quite some time, and I don't like to sit and sort of try and write. I don't like to sort of force it. I'd like things to happen, but if my next album ain't as good as my last two, you'll know I've started to force it.
Now, when you're obviously grew up in a musical family. When did you start with music? Did you start at an early age, or did you rebel against it?
Really young. There was music in my house. There was musical instruments around. My dad was a jazz player. My mum was a singer. And we had music in the house. I had pianos, drums, guitars, basses, all my dad's instruments as well, which I never got to. I was more into the sort of singer-songwriter rock thing,
What did you start with first? Did you start with piano?
Yeah, when I was 8, I started playing piano for a couple of years.
So late.
Yeah, and then I went on to guitar, and then went back onto piano again for a while. I sort of split between the two.
Do you remember the first song you wrote?
Yeah, I do. Actually, no, thinking about it, I said I started on piano. I started on guitar first. I'm sorry about that, yeah. And my first song I wrote on guitar was called I'm Gonna Find a Lover.
Okay.
I wrote that when I was really young. I think I've always yearned to have some company. And then I wrote one called The King's Crown. It was about a witch coming and stealing the King's crown.
How old were you when you wrote that?
Really young, like 8, 9.
Years old, you're writing songs, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Now, as far as like the future of music with like the digital media and what's your thoughts on that? Do you support that? What do you think?
I very much support it, but the bottom line is it is making it very hard for musicians to make money selling product. So you've got to gear things a different way now, like doing lots of shows, selling product after shows, selling product online on your own websites and stuff. Yeah, and just being a bit more on the ball, I'd say, about it, really, pushing it. It is hard. Things have changed such a lot.
Now, as far as
but it's great. It's a great outlet if you're, for guy. If you want to make a cool film to go with your product, you can make it yourself. You can do it on an iPad nowadays. So you can publish it instantly, on YouTube, and it's wonderful for that. I mean, it's incredible for that. And I've really enjoyed that side of things. I've had. I got into a real spate of making my own movies and sitting on the tour bus and editing. And
oh, really? You made your own movies too?
Yeah, quite a few of them are up on my official YouTube site page. And it's just another great outlet, I think. It really is.
Keeps you creative, keeps you inspired. Like you're saying, you're waiting for the next thing to come to you. Who's your, would you say your influences are, as far as musically?
Well, apart from The Who, obviously, because I grew up with The Who. I've got a lot of influences in the singer-songwriter ilk, like Stevie Wonder was a big influence, Elton John, lots of singer-songwriters, even the Americans, in James Taylor I liked, Carole King stuff as well. Bands I used to love all the like Jam, The Clash. I liked Genesis at one point. I've been through so many different sort of, I listen to Bob Marley's reggae. I have such a sort of wide spectrum. I always say to people, for me, it's about the music being good. If the music is good, then I'll like it. You know what I mean? And I'm not really stuck on any sort of. It doesn't have to be done in the 1980s. I can't stand it when people say it's your music from the 80s, and if it is, then they love it. It's like it's about the actual music.
It's what's underneath and what.
Cool.
Well, cool, man. I don't want to keep your time too much, man. I know you have a few things to do tonight.
Yeah.
Man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And cool. Well, my name's Matt. This is Simon. Turhan's behind the camera. This will be on MonkeyGooseMagazine.com. Hotel Cafe. Thank you so much.